actually my privilege today to introduce Reverend Rafe Ellis to all of you. He comes to us most recently from the Mountainside Center for Spiritual Living in Placerville, but prior to that he was participating in Santa Rosa and in West Sacramento, not too far from here, and Vallejo. And he has felt that ministry is all of his life. He told us a story, which I already knew, but it was a good story, so I'm going to tell. He would line up his stuffed animals when he was little and preach to the animals. So all of those animals are science of mind people. Yeah, isn't that cool? Probably the teddy bear and everything. Okay. So he also has a BA in clinical social work and an MBA in organizational psychology and development. And he's worked in Asheville, North Carolina, Santa Rosa. He's been around the country and is expressed his love for humanity that way. He's also a licensed minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living since 2017, and he received his practitioner license in 2008. And he's visiting us here today with his wonderful, beloved wife, Deborah Ellis, who's also a practitioner. So she's, make sure you say hi. Yeah. So anyway, and then I want to share in Rafe's own words. I'm a servant leader, lifelong social activist and minister with an uncompromising commitment to be a living experience, an example of oneness through the practical and visible applications of the teaching and principles of science of mind and spirit. As a successful executive and entrepreneur, I bring a wealth of transferable skills gained in a variety of professional sectors, both for-profit and for nonprofit. I am seeking a position as a senior minister in a spiritual community that is committed to maximizing my skills, talents, and abilities in partnership with their own, to grow the center from the inside out, nurturing its members as well as the members of the communities beyond the center's walls. So please welcome Reverend Rafe Ellis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just got to take you in a minute. You're quite lovely. I don't know if your mirror told you that this morning, but you are. I am Reverend Rafe Ellis, and I am honored to be here. I'm an emotional guy. That Imagine song, I've already boo-hooed my way through the morning. And I'm good with that. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, because that's how I got to the place of understanding oneness. So take a breath with me, because this first little piece might create a bit of cognitive dissonance for you. The minute you looked at me, you made some assumptions based on the beard, based on the suit, based on the baritone voice. I was born in the wrapper of a female. So just take that in. It's like my sister-in-law said, just gonna need a minute with that. It took me 43 years of minutes. I knew at the age of 4, but I didn't have an avenue to be me. Why is that important for you to know? It's the same conversation I had with a police officer recently who was like, dude, if you didn't tell us, nobody would know. Why do you tell people? I tell people, and this is what I said to him. I asked him, I said, do you have children? And he said, no, but we're trying. I said, I share it so that when your child is born, if it grows up different than you expect, it won't have to want to die every day because it doesn't get to be who it is. That's why I tell people. And when being transgender becomes just as normalized as being cisgendered, I'll shut up. And until then, we have to make it visible. because what is invisible goes unrecognized and goes uncelebrated. And all God's children get to be celebrated for exactly who they are. So, here's this little person who literally, and it wasn't just on Sundays. Monday through Friday, I'd set up all the stuffed animals after school and teach. And Saturdays, I took off. And Sunday, I preached. And it's just always been there. And then there was this process of humanity that instilled in me that I had made choices that disqualified me from being a minister. Because I lived on planet Earth, and sometimes my judgment was less than good. Just was. I grew up, my childhood, let me just tell you this before I tell you any of the stuff. My childhood was wonderful. It was exciting, and I wouldn't trade a minute of the mess of my childhood. Because my mess is my message. Okay. So I grew up in Leesburg, Virginia, born at Loudon Memorial Hospital. 12/24/59, it's never too late to send cash. I'm serious. There was the county jail. Did you not like that? Okay. There was the county jail. There was a whorehouse, and there was our house. So I grew up, we were the only Caucasian family in literally a black ghetto. So I grew up immersed in the diversity of skin color and culture. I am the only person I know that has white skin that has officially had black lessons. My friends came over, you're all right, but you're a little too white, and we're going to fix that. They packed my clothes in boxes, took me home with them, cornrowed my hair, and gave me black lessons for 6 months. It was awesome. I know how to cook, I know how to dance, I know how to have fun, and I'm here to tell you, cornrowed hair hurts. It hurts. So when people in the black culture tell you it hurts, they're not making it up. It hurts. You know? So I grew up immersed in oneness and had no idea that's what was happening. Had no idea. I was a childhood drug addict. I was introduced to heroin unbeknownst to me at the age of 7. I was an IV heroin addict by the time I was 9. I knew how to shoot a gun before I knew how to spell my name. And all of that is perfect. I really want you to get that. Notice the smile. There's no negative charge because that was my path. Today I stand here 35 years clean and sober. And that path that path has prepared me well because there's very little, and it took me a while to get this, because as a minister, we get a lot of stuff. There's very little that's going to surprise me. See, because I was also raised in pretty fundamentalist religions. We started out United Methodist. Then we went to Baptist, then we went to Southern Baptist, then we went to Church of the Nazarene, then we went to Pentecostal Holiness, then we went to Pentecostal Holiness House Church with snake handling. So it's, my one experience in the Catholic Church, it's like my friend invited me to go, so I went to church with her. What she failed to tell me was that they genuflect before they go in and sit down. So I'm right behind her. She stops to genuflect. right over top of her, face planting in the aisle. So that's my experience with Catholicism. But what I learned, aside from how unnecessary all the guilt and shame is that precious I-thou relationship. The Pentecostal gave me an anchor into meeting and communing and fellowshipping and living breath to breath with whatever this is that lives inside of me. I know that place. I get to live in that place. And I get to see that place in everybody. I was raised by my grandmother, who is probably the wisest human being I have ever known. Told you I'm an emotional guy. She gave me the greatest gift anybody has ever given me, because she taught me growing up. This is how she dealt with me, because I had stuff that needed to be corrected. I love you. I hate this shoplifting behavior. I love you. I love you. I hate when you lie. I love you. Every time. She started with love. She identified very clearly the issue, and she ended it with love. And it was years later before I realized the gift that she had given me was to know at a deep cellular level that I am not my behavior, that I am something far greater than that no matter what I do, I deserve love. And that transfers. That's the gift that I get to give all of humanity, whether I'm standing in a pulpit or I'm at the recycle center trading in cans and bottles. I get to see the beauty and the love and the magnificence in every set of eyes, because I get that this is God looking at God and God looking back at God. Because if God is all there is, it cannot be any other way. There's no, see, in oneness, there ain't no other. So we can separate ourselves mentally all we want. We can hoodoo ourselves. We can lie to ourselves. We can act as if it's true. And there still ain't never going to be a word of truth in it. You are the divine in form. Like it or not, that's who you be. I am one that I hold myself to stand in that. Can you turn that down just a bit, Ike? Thank you. Because we kind of minimize it when we talk about God in me or God through me. I'm calling you up to own God as you. Stand in that. Dare to stand in that depth of oneness, because when you do, everybody stands there with you. Ernest Holmes says it this way. Because sometimes, even in science of mind, we get really confused that focusing on diversity is somehow divisive. Not so. The thought of God must be the cause of all that really exists, and there are many existing things. There must be many thoughts in the mind of the infinite. This is logical to suppose, for an infinite mind would necessarily conceive an infinite variety of ideas. Hence, the world of multiplicity, or many things, But the world of multiplicity does not contradict the world of unity, for the many live in the one. If we get sidetracked on the politics of diversity, we have already lost. I don't care what your political party is. I really don't. What I care about is that you vote with a consciousness of your heart. That's what I care about. That we all are awake to what is real, which is divinity. Every expression, whether I like how you behave or not, I do not get to separate you into some other category that says, I know you guys are God, but I don't know. You're doing some stuff not real godly in your behavior. And I'll bet you, even in that completely arbitrary example, folks over here got some feelings going on, like, well, how come we got picked? How come pick on them? Because we're feeling beings. Now think about segments of our society that we marginalize. That's what they feel every day. I would be remiss if I ran from the challenge to address what's happening in our country right now. It would be scary if I didn't understand what's happening. Supremacy has no place in oneness because supremacy demands a hierarchy of others. What we are witnessing is the death of supremacy. Yes. In every form. When I say supremacy, I'm not just talking about race. I mean supremacy in every form. No more, my dog's better than your dog. No more. It has no place. Because in true equality, there's only one. And every exquisite manifestation of it is not only perfect and brilliant and equal, it's necessary. And it's divinely created. And here's where I dropped into a place of oneness that blew my mind. When I finally understood the power of free will, that creation itself created every one of us to experience itself as our life and trusts us enough to completely let go. Think about that. The power of this universe trusts you with its experience of itself unconditionally. That's the power that lives in you. Holy wow. Now, the flip side of that comes the R word. I developed a year-long transformational intensive that's 5 sequential classes. And every time I teach it, about halfway through, the students start going, oh, you're going to talk about the R word again, aren't you? Responsibility. Because with great trust, with great power, comes great responsibility. And what would change on this planet if every one of us took ownership of our power from a perspective of responsibility? That we acted in a manner in alignment with principle. Now, I love science of mind, but I don't care where you find your principle. Just find it. If you find it here, great. If you find it in 12-step, great. If you find it on the street corner, great. Just find it. And if you're waking up and you notice that the world isn't quite in alignment with principle, great. And if you go through your day thinking the world is in perfect alignment with principle, wake up. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Because regardless of our political affiliation, regardless of how we feel about immigration, children are being harmed at the border. Families are being decimated. And there's nothing in principle about that. My favorite passage in this Science of Mind text that guides every decision I make. You will find it on page 270. Because Ernest Holmes makes it very clear how to define justice. The criterion for any man, woman, person, as to what is right or wrong for them is not to be found in some other person's judgment. The criterion is, listen very closely, does the thing I wish to do express more life, more happiness, more peace to myself, and at the same time harm no one? That's pretty clear. So if something I'm doing harms anyone, including me, it's wrong. Stop it. Just stop it. The problem is we don't know what to do instead sometimes. And this is where imagination comes in. The song could not be more perfect. The imagination of creation itself is your imagination. It thinks your thoughts. It dreams your dreams. And it's simply waiting for you to recognize that and to use it. Imagine this, wherever God lives for you, because sometimes I catch myself, because I got a lot of years of, God out there. So some days God's out there. Oh, well, do I still relate to it the same? Yeah. So let yourself off the hook. Instead of getting all guilty and shamey and I know I'm not supposed to do that. Just talk to it wherever it is and understand you're talking to yourself. Okay? How many people talk to themselves? And those who think they don't, did you not just say, I don't talk to myself? Just say it. It happens. So what if your internal conversation was pure love? What if your internal conversation stopped the pattern? Because I can't stop something out here that I haven't stopped in here. See, we all want to be the butterfly. What we need is more caterpillars. You cannot be the butterfly without starting as the caterpillar. True transformation. Is the caterpillar recognizable once it becomes a butterfly? No. It literally turns into a gelatinous goo inside the cocoon that becomes something else. Dare to access your imagination to become transformed, to become an individualized cell in the body of the one. Dare to challenge all of those messages that we're socialized to believe that tells you you're separate, because you ain't. It's like, think about it in terms of your own physical being. Identify a group of cells, okay? Whether they're the liver cells, whether they're the adipose cells. If I was going to pick, that might be mine. And imagine completely eliminating those cells from your body. How well would you function? Not so well. But that's what we do when we other people. We say this group of cells no longer qualifies, off you go. And the body of divinity doesn't function so well that way. So our invitation is to stop it. First, we have to stop it. And then we reimagine ourselves and everyone else. Every politician that makes you turn off the TV, you are one with them. Every predator that has ever preyed on the innocent, we are one with them. When I see the mass shootings, before I go into prayer, I acknowledge out loud, I am the shooter. I am the shot. I am the parent. I am the gun manufacturer. I am the ammunition manufacturer. I am the person at the sales counter who sold the weapon. Because I am. Because anything less than absolute ownership is participation in the lie, and I refuse. I refuse. Because I love this planet. I love divinity. I love every one of you, so why would I eliminate part of our body? It's about healing. Ernest Holmes said there's never anything to be healed, only more truth to be revealed. Are we willing to stop trying to do surgery on humanity and reveal the truth that's already in us? So I want to invite you. Listen to this quote, and then I want to invite you to go inward for a brief exploration. And this is from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Whether you believe in God or not does not matter so much. Whether you believe in Buddha or not does not matter so much. As a Buddhist, whether you believe in reincarnation or not does not matter so much. You must lead a good life. And a good life does not mean just good food, good clothes, good shelter. This is not sufficient. A good motivation is what is needed. Compassion without dogmatism, without complicated philosophy, just understanding that others are human brothers and sisters and respecting their rights and human dignity. That's pretty inclusive. I love you. I hate your behavior. I love you. So I invite you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes and go inward into that space where your imagination is alive and vibrant. And bring that imagination into a picture of a healthy, healed, vibrant world of oneness. And I invite you to just stay there a minute. And I invite you to imagine the divine singing this to you. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. Knowing there is only one infinite, ever-present source. Knowing it is the very essence of my being. That it is all that is here in this room, on this planet, in this community that I know as Sierra for Center for Spiritual Living, as Grass Valley. And knowing that there is only one, I know that each and every one of us must be that in form. Must be. It can be no other way. And so I stand in the truth and the power of that truth, calling forth the brilliance of magnificence of creation itself as each individualized expression of itself, calling forth that energy, that essence, that fire. It says, let me create. I got this. And we love our humanness right out of the way so that our brilliance can be our front door. As I speak my word, knowing it is the word of the one speaking as me, I am moved to gratitude. A gratitude that knows it is done. A gratitude that is the acknowledgement of completion. And in that acknowledgement, I am free to release my word because it's done, it's complete. And if any part of this has resonated with you, I invite you to join me as we anchor it together by saying, and so it is.